You delete social media, you try a dopamine detox, and it works. It works for a few days. And then you're back to where you started. Scrolling, distracted, drained. So what's going on? Maybe the problem is not your discipline. The problem is the restriction that you're putting on yourself. The problem is you're trying to control something without even understanding it. Friends, dopamine detox, which is very popular nowadays, is like putting a bandage on a broken bone. And let me tell you, in yogic science, there is a much more simpler way that can significantly change or improve the way you are trying to implement this change. It is called Swadhyaya, self-study, or maybe you can call it self-observation. Let me explain this via a very simple story. A young man, an exhausted young man, not exhausted from his work or from his life, but is exhausted from his wanting to control. He goes to a yogi, a teacher, a guru, and says, I cannot stop. I eat when I'm not hungry. I reach for things that I don't want or don't like. I hoard things that I don't want to. I buy things that I don't need. And I try to stop myself 100 times and nothing works. The teacher listens very quietly. He stops for a moment and then responds with just two simple words. Don't stop. He pauses for a moment and then says something that the young man did not expect. Don't control yourself. The young man stares. He was surprised. He came here for a solution, but he was given something totally opposite. Then the teacher continues. Don't stop, but watch yourself. Every single time. Watch the moment when you crave for something. Watch the moment when you reach for something that you did not want. And watch the moment after you have it. Don't judge, don't resist, just watch. This is the practice of Swadhyaya or self-observation. You practice this and come see me after 10 days. So the young man goes home and tries. Day 1, day 2, day 3. He eats the food, he watches all the shows on the TV. He goes out for shopping. He buys stuff that he doesn't even want. On day 4, something shifts. He picks up his phone and just before he opens any app, he pauses for a second. He just notices something. He notices that he is not actually bored. He's not looking for anything that he needs right now in the phone. He noticed that he was a bit off inside and he was just looking for something to soothe and give him that dopamine hit. So he reaches out for his phone and he did not do it by himself. It just happened. It was that autopilot mode that he was living with. And his hand just reached out to the phone to ease his feeling of discomfort, to ease his feeling of boredom. After realizing this, he puts the phone back down. Not because he was forcing himself, not because he was trying to discipline himself, because for the very first time, he could clearly see what was actually happening. And for the next few days, he observed the same behavior in himself. When he was trying to shop something that he did not like, he was just pulling himself back, not by force, not by discipline, again, just because he felt it was the right thing to do. And on the 10th day, he goes back to the teacher and tells him, I stopped, not because I was forcing myself, not because I tried, because I could clearly see the truth. I could clearly see where I was wrong. The teacher, the guru, simply smiles and says, Swadhyaya this is. Self-observation, self-study. Friends, most people approach dopamine detox as a punishment. No phone, no distraction, no pleasures. And that's where the problem lies. Your mind resists because you have not removed the desire. You have simply removed the objects of desire. You have only removed the outlet. And suppressed desires don't disappear. They come back with double force, with double power. And they want you to eat stuff that is not healthy. They want you to shop stuff that you don't want. They want you back on your phone with scrolling social media. And that is exactly why your detox doesn't last. Because it is built on force, not understanding. And friends, the problem is not dopamine. The problem is our unconscious behavior. We don't decide to pick up the phone. It just happens, right? And that's autopilot. We cannot fix autopilot by discipline alone. As per yoga, the practice of self-study doesn't mean controlling ourselves. It doesn't mean to restrict ourselves. It just means to observe our behavior. What exactly we are doing. And more importantly, why we are doing it. Watching our thoughts, watching our impulses, watching our habits as they happen. And this, my friends, changes everything. The moment you become aware of a habit, you create a gap between your impulse and the action. And that gap is the power. Because in that tiny gap, we get a chance to choose the right thing for us. So next time you reach for your phone, don't stop yourself. Just observe your behavior. And you don't need to tell anyone. You are just observing, you are just working on yourself in that moment. Simply notice yourself and say to yourself, I'm just picking up this phone because I am bored. And that is self-study. That is Swadhyaya. So here's a very simple practice. Instead of forcing a detox, try this. Don't change your habits, just observe them. Every time you feel the urge, pause for 5 seconds and ask why I'm doing this right now. Not to stop it, but to understand it. And you will notice, friends, slowly something interesting happens. The urge or the desire weakens. And it is not because you stopped it. It is because you saw through it. Awareness dissolves what force cannot. So you see friends, how just becoming SAJAG or becoming aware significantly changes the game of life for us. You don't need to fight your habits. You just need to identify them and observe them. You need to understand them. Because the moment you truly see the pattern, you can break the pattern. You are no longer controlled by the pattern. And that is freedom, my friends. Not discipline, but awareness. If this made sense to you, please subscribe to the channel, friends. We bring yogic wisdom through these videos, and this wisdom helps you switch off from the autopilot mode to a proper human mode, aware mode, SAJAG mode. So friends, thank you so much for being with us. I will see you in the next video. Until then, live SAJAG, live happy. Namaste.